Imagine building an engine so powerful that insurance companies triple your premium overnight. So advanced that NASCAR's own founder personally signs its death warrant. So dominant that after one race, they rewrite the entire rulebook just to kill it. This actually happened 12 times. From aluminum blocks banned by name to turbine engines that sounded like jets, these mechanical monsters were deemed too dangerous for American roads and racetracks. And the craziest part? Some are still banned today. Number 12. Buick Nailhead 401. At number 12, we have a legend from the dawn of the muscle car era. Known for its unique looks and stump-pulling torque, the Buick Nailhead V8. The Nailhead name came from its distinctive vertical valves, which had unusually small diameters and looked like nails. Its unfair advantage wasn't peak horsepower, but monstrous low-end grunt. The 401 cubic inch version, found in cars like the Wildcat and Grand Sport, produced a massive 445 pound-feet of torque at just 2,800 RPM. This meant that while other engines were still waking up, the Nailhead was delivering a tidal wave of force, launching heavy Buicks off the line with shocking authority. It was the king of torque, designed for effortless, silent speed. The ban on the Nailhead wasn't from a racing league, but from the relentless march of technology. Its small valves and restrictive port design, which were great for low RPM torque, severely limited its high RPM breathing and horsepower potential. As the horsepower wars of the mid-60s escalated, the Nailhead simply couldn't compete with the better breathing designs from Ford, Chevy, and even within GM. By 1967, it was replaced by the new 430 V8, a more conventional engine designed for horsepower. The Nailhead wasn't outlawed. It was simply rendered obsolete by the very war it helped start. Number 11. Cadillac 500. Next is an engine that embodies the phrase, "There's no replacement for displacement." Meet the Cadillac 500, the largest mass-produced V8 engine ever offered in a passenger car. At a colossal 8.2 liters, this engine wasn't built for racing. It was built to move 2.5-ton luxury yachts with the silent, effortless authority of a locomotive. When it debuted in the 1970 Eldorado, its advantage was sheer size. It produced a stunning 400 horsepower and a monumental 550 pound-feet of torque. The goal wasn't frantic speed, but a wave of torque so immense it could move a land barge with just a whisper from the engine bay. However, the Cadillac 500 became a high-profile victim of government regulation. The dawn of the 1970s brought the EPA and a brutal crackdown on emissions. To cope, GM slashed the engine's compression ratio. Over the course of just a few years, the mighty 500 was strangled. Its power plummeted from 400 horsepower down to a pathetic 190 horsepower by 1976. It wasn't banned by a sanctioning body, but systematically choked to death by federal emissions mandates, a giant slain by bureaucracy. Number 10. Oldsmobile 455 Rocket. At number 10, we have another General Motors giant, an engine renowned not just for its power, but for the fear it struck into the hearts of insurance companies. The Oldsmobile 455 Rocket. This engine was the heart of the legendary Oldsmobile 442, a car that defined the gentleman's hot rod. The 455's advantage was its incredible torque, readily available at low RPMs. While other big blocks needed to be wound out, the 455 delivered over 500 pound-feet of torque at just 3,200 RPM. This made it a stoplight-to-stoplight monster, a torque-rich powerhouse that delivered instant acceleration. In a 442, it was a status symbol of street dominance. This is where a different kind of ban came in. As muscle cars got more powerful, insurance companies panicked. They saw cars like the 455-powered 442 as uncontrollable liabilities. Premiums for owners of high-performance muscle cars skyrocketed, sometimes tripling overnight. This economic pressure did what racing leagues couldn't. It made owning these cars financially ruinous for many young buyers. The 455 Rocket wasn't banned by rules, but it was effectively targeted and sidelined by the very industry that was supposed to protect its owners. Number 9. Pontiac 455 HO. Number 9 is the last of the great Pontiac muscle engines, a final defiant roar against the dying of the light. This is the 1971 Pontiac 455 HO. As emissions regulations and insurance premiums were strangling the muscle car, Pontiac made one last stand. While other manufacturers were detuning their engines into submission, Pontiac released the 455 high output. It featured better breathing round port heads derived from their Ram Air 4 racing program, a hot cam, and a massive 800 cubic feet per minute carburetor. Officially, it made 335 horsepower and a staggering 480 pound-feet of torque. In a Trans Am, it was capable of running the quarter mile in the mid-13-second range, making it one of the fastest cars on the road in 1971. But it was a battle Pontiac couldn't win. The 455 HO was a warrior from a bygone era, fighting against a tidal wave of regulations. Though it survived for a couple of years as one of the last true performance engines, its fate was sealed. By 1975, the most powerful 455 you could get made a meager 200 horsepower. The engine wasn't banned outright, but it was a legend that was cornered, disarmed, and ultimately neutralized by the unstoppable force of government mandates. Number 8. The Ford 351 Cleveland. We land at number 8 with an engine that proved it's not about size, but all about how you breathe. The Ford 351 Cleveland, a small block that punched like a heavyweight. When it arrived in 1970, it was intended as a workhorse V8, but one specific version, the 4V model, was a killer in disguise. Its unfair advantage was all in its cylinder heads. The 4V, standing for 4 Venturi carburetor, featured absolutely massive intake ports and canted valves. Think of it this way: a normal engine sips air through a straw. The 351 Cleveland 4V inhaled through a fire hose. This radical design allowed a colossal volume of air and fuel to be force-fed into the cylinders, letting a mid-size engine generate power that could humiliate big blocks from Chevrolet and Chrysler. On the street, in cars like the Boss 351 Mustang, it was a giant killer. In the racing world, it was a hostile takeover. It completely dominated the Pro Stock drag racing class and the Trans Am series. The competition was furious, so rule makers had to act. They couldn't just ban one of the most popular production engines in America. So they did something more clever. They neutered it. Racing leagues like NASCAR and the NHRA hammered it with crippling weight penalties and displacement equalization formulas designed to surgically remove its every advantage. They didn't ban the engine. They banned its ability to win. Number 7. The IMSA Consulier GTP. Coming in at number 7 is the ultimate underdog story. An engine that wasn't banned for having too much horsepower, but because it was bolted into a car that was just too damn clever. This is the story of the Consulier GTP and its heart, a turbocharged 2.2-liter engine borrowed from a humble Dodge K-car. In the late 1980s, the IMSA racing series was a gladiator pit for titans like factory-backed Corvettes and Porsches. In walked Warren Mosler, a maverick who built the Consulier GTP with a radical featherlight carbon fiber and Kevlar monocoque chassis. And the engine he chose? A heavily modified version of the same tiny 4-cylinder turbo you might find in a Dodge Daytona. Its advantage wasn't brute force, but a profound lack of mass. While the heavy V8s bludgeoned the track, the Consulier floated through corners, carrying momentum effortlessly. That little Dodge engine, tuned to within an inch of its life, was more than enough. The car started winning, and winning. It was so humiliating for the factory giants that IMSA caved to the pressure. First, they slapped the Consulier with a 300-pound weight penalty. When the car still kept winning, IMSA had enough. In 1991, they banned it from the series outright. The Consulier GTP was kicked out for the crime of embarrassing the establishment. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Number 6. The Ford Torino Talladega Super Cobra Jet. At number 6, a story that's about more than just the engine. This band targeted an entire breed of car whose radical bodies and monster engines made a mockery of physics, the Aero Warriors, and one of its fiercest fighters was the Ford Torino Talladega. By 1969, the horsepower race in NASCAR was reaching absurd levels, but on massive superspeedways, raw power was hitting a literal wall of air. In response to Mopar's winged creations, Ford developed the Torino Talladega. It featured a stretched, sloped nose and a flush-mounted grille, all designed in a wind tunnel to slice through the air with maximum efficiency. Under the hood lay its other weapon, the 429 Super Cobra Jet V8. This powerhouse, combined with the car's slippery aerodynamics, was simply unstoppable on the high banks. These Aero Warriors began hitting speeds approaching and then breaking the mythical 200-mile-per-hour barrier. NASCAR officials got nervous. The terrifying speeds were pushing tires and track safety to their absolute limits. So, for the 1971 season, NASCAR delivered a death blow. They declared that any of these special Aero cars would be restricted to a tiny engine displacement of just 305 cubic inches. Compared to the massive 429 V8 engines they were built for, it was a death sentence. The ban worked, and the Aero Warriors were grounded for good. Number 5. The Mercedes-Benz 500 Ri. Number 5 is a tale of corporate genius and calculated rebellion. An engine built in absolute secrecy to exploit a loophole, dominate a single race, and then vanish. This is the Ilmor Mercedes 500 Ri. For the 1994 Indianapolis 500, Roger Penske, Ilmor, and Mercedes-Benz saw an opportunity. The rulebook allowed stock block pushrod engines to run significantly more turbocharger boost than the sophisticated overhead cam engines used by every other top team. The rule was intended for cheaper, production-based V6s, but they noticed the rules no longer specified the block had to be production-based. So, in secret, they designed a brand new purpose-built pushrod V8 from a clean sheet of paper. Its advantage was a colossal 150 to 200 horsepower more than the competition, with reports of over 1,024 horsepower in total. When Team Penske showed up at Indy, they dominated. They took pole and led 193 of the 200 laps. Al Unser Jr. won the race with ease. Competitors were stunned and furious. As expected, the organizers immediately changed the rules for the next year, effectively banning the 500 Ri forever. It was an engine designed to race once, win, and accept its own execution. Number 4. The Lotus 56 turbine car. We now arrive at an engine that wasn't just an evolution, it was a revolution. It had no pistons, no crankshaft, and it made an eerie whistling sound like a jet. This is the story of the 1968 Lotus 56 and the Pratt & Whitney turbine engine that almost broke the Indianapolis 500. Legendary designer Colin Chapman arrived at the 1968 Indy 500 with a car from the future. The Lotus 56 was a sleek wedge housing a Pratt & Whitney turbine engine, a modified version of one that powered helicopters, driving all four wheels. Its advantages were otherworldly. The turbine was light, compact, and produced a constant seamless wave of torque with no gear shifts. While other drivers wrestled their cars, the Lotus 56 drivers just surged forward. Its speed was undeniable. Joe Leonard put the car on pole position. During the race, he was leading and pulling away with ease. But with just 9 laps to go, a simple fuel pump shaft failed, and the silent revolution came to a heartbreaking halt. The racing establishment was terrified. Fearing that quiet, efficient turbines would make roaring piston engines obsolete, the sanctioning body, USAC, first crippled them with air intake restrictions and then banned them from the sport entirely. Number 3. The Chevrolet ZL 1427 aluminum block. Some engines are banned for being too fast. This one was sidelined for being too exotic, too expensive, and far too advanced. Meet the Chevrolet ZL1, a weapon of mass destruction in a world of iron cannons. By the late 1960s, a small group of Chevy engineers working on the brutal Can-Am racing series had a radical idea: adapt their all-aluminum 427 race engines and sell them to the public. The result was the ZL1. Its advantage was simple. It was a copy of the brutal L88 race engine, but cast entirely in aluminum. This saved over 100 pounds of weight directly over the front wheels, a massive advantage. Officially, Chevrolet rated the ZL1 at 430 horsepower, a blatant lie to fool regulators. Independent tests showed it was making well over 500 horsepower. It was a fire-breathing race engine you could, in theory, get in a Camaro. When NASCAR got wind of this lightweight monster, they knew it would shatter the competitive balance, turning the sport into a war of wallets only GM could win. So, they didn't ban the ZL1 by name. They simply outlawed all aluminum engine blocks from competition. The rule change killed the ZL1's racing career before it ever began. Just 69 ZL1 Camaros and 2 Corvettes were ever built, creating some of the rarest muscle cars on the planet. Number 2. The Chrysler 426 Hemi Elephant engine. There are banned engines, and then there is the banned engine, the one whose very band created the most legendary muscle cars in history. This is the 426 Hemi, the Elephant engine. In the early 1960s, Chrysler engineers revived a 1950s concept. the hemispherical combustion chamber. By shaping the chamber like a half sphere, they could use enormous valves for unparalleled airflow. The result was an engine of monstrous size, weight, and power. Its advantage was pure, unadulterated brute force. Officially rated at a conservative 425 horsepower, its true output was well over 500. Its debut at the 1964 Daytona 500 wasn't just a win, it was a public humiliation of Ford. Hemi-powered Plymouths finished first, second, and third. Ford threatened to boycott. So, for the 1965 season, NASCAR dropped the hammer. The 426 Hemi was banned. They claimed it wasn't a true production engine since you couldn't buy it in a streetcar. Chrysler's response was equally dramatic. They boycotted NASCAR for the entire 1965 season, but they also got to work. To get their engine unbanned, they did exactly what NASCAR demanded. For 1966, they began selling streetcars with the monstrous 426 Hemi, creating immortal legends like the Dodge Charger and Plymouth Hemi Cuda. The ban didn't kill the Hemi, it immortalized it. Number 1. The Ford 427 SOHC Cammer. Number 1 is the story of a king assassinated before he could even be crowned. An engine so advanced and threatening that the ruler of NASCAR himself, Bill France Sr., banned it on sight. This is the legendary Ford 427 SOHC, the Cammer. In 1964, Ford was panicking. Chrysler had just unleashed its monstrous 426 Hemi, and it was annihilating Ford on the track. Ford engineers were given a blank check to build a Hemi killer. Known as the 90-day wonder, they took the rugged bottom end of their 427 side oiler and designed a revolutionary top end, with a single overhead camshaft over each cylinder head, driven by a massive 7-foot-long timing chain. This was its unbelievable advantage. In an era of pushrods, the SOHC was exotic technology. It allowed the engine to rev higher and breathe more efficiently than any big block had before. Ford rated one version at 657 horsepower, but it was capable of far more. It was a technological nuke in a knife fight. Built to destroy the Hemi at the 1965 Daytona 500, it never got the chance. Bill France banned the 427 Cammer before it ever turned a single lap in a NASCAR race, declaring it too exotic and not a true production engine. Though it was blocked from its destiny, it found a new home in drag racing, where it became an undisputed and fearsome legend. These 12 legends were simply too good at their job. So good they made insurance companies panic and forced NASCAR to rewrite the rulebook. But here's the real question. Was banning them protecting us or robbing us of automotive greatness? Drop your take in the comments. And if you enjoyed the content, smash that like button and subscribe for more auto content. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.